welcome to another episode of Movie Mishaps. This is a segment in which we will be focusing on, discussing, and analyzing some of the misconceptions that we see in teen movies, both in the past and in the present.
Today we're going to be doing a segment focusing on the stereotype that you all probably already have seen or know about.
That's right. We're going to be focusing on the stereotype of white girls.
The white girl category is extremely broad, so we decided to split it into three pieces. The rich white girl, the dumb white girl, and the superficial girl. So let's go straight into the rich white girl.
The rich white girl is usually the antagonist of the movie, the daughter of some famous family or some famous corporation who gets her way in life no matter what. It's a stereotype that we always tend to overlook because it seems natural and it's an entertainment source that we all like to laugh at. Let's take a look at a few examples to see just how rich these white girls really are.
The members of the co-op board have a strict no-dog policy.
My father heads our country club board, so I'm sure that gives me some kind of board immunity.
It was my parents' room, but I made them trade me.
Daddy's a litigator. Those are the scariest kinds of lawyers. Did I show you the loped-out Jeep Daddy got me? It's got four-wheel drive, dual side airbags, and a monster sound system.
You might be asking, what's so bad about being rich and wealthy? What's bad is that these teen movies in the past and in contemporary society portray these white girls as spoiled daughters of rich families, gifted every day with the finest treatment, new clothes, new cars, and more. However, despite their overflowing wealth and gifted background, most of them seem to be devoid of any logical sense. To give some examples, let's talk about what you just saw in these three short clips. The first one is a clip from High School Musical spin-off, Sharpay's Fabulous Adventure. Here we see Sharpay moving into a new penthouse in New York with a typical rich white girl outfit. The significant part of this clip is that you'll see how she uses her father as backup when things don't go her way because she knows that her rich and successful dad could help her get what she wants. So let's be honest here. Not a lot of us really believe that her lifestyle is respectable in any way, and we all think she's just a spoiled brat who just wants everything she can get her hands on. These are all the visual cues that help shape this rich white girl stereotype.
The next clip is a clip from Mean Girls, showing us just how rich the main character, Regina George, really is. We can see her mansion, her nice car, and a bedroom that most of us will probably never own. And the last clip is actually from a movie from the 1990s, Clueless. In it, you'll see how the main character, Cher, gets everything that she wants anytime she wants it from her dad. This also shows that this whole rich white girl stereotype isn't a new thing, but it's been perpetuated by the media ever since the late 1900s. Because the stereotype has been present in the media for so long, it has become an ingrained part of the teen movie culture. So you might be wondering why exactly this is dangerous and why this whole stereotype is a misconception. What we want to emphasize is that being rich isn't the problem here. Of course, there are a lot of white females in this world who really do own fancy mansions, fancy cars, and have parents that work for famous corporations. What we want to emphasize is that the problem is teen movies really exaggerate the wealth of white girls and often use their wealth as a huge source of the characters' spoiled and unwelcome attitudes towards their peers and towards their entire lifestyle.
Because of this wealth, teen movies also portray these white girls as spoiled brats who don't have many talents and whose wealth is one of the only features that make them feared.
Regina George is flawless. She has 2 Fendi purses and a silver Lexus.
I hear her hair is insured for $10,000.
I hear she does car commercials in Japan.
One time, she punched me in the face. It was awesome.
Money is the only thing that their peers look at. Money is the only thing that makes them the homecoming queen. Money is the only thing that raised them up on their social status.
Speaking of social reputation, let's move straight into the superficial white girl category. This one's also pretty funny because I know that a lot of us actually relate to some of the things that these white girls talk about in the movies. But before we move on to detail, we'll first show you what we mean by superficial.
I can't believe you think we're gonna go to the Hamptons with my face looking like that?
It's really not that bad. Just get some makeup and cover it up.
Put makeup on this? I am so frickin' pissed.
It's our burn book. So we cut out girls' pictures from the yearbook, and then we wrote comments.
Chang Pak is a grotesque little biatch. Still true.
Don Schweitzer is a fat virgin.
Still half true.
This is exactly what we're talking about. What you just saw in the 30 seconds or so of some of today's most popular teen movies are the typical portrayals of white girls, snotty, fake, phony, and obsessed with boys. A lot of us really do care about where we are in terms of social reputation, social status, and physical appearance. And we do care about who we like, who we want to ask as our prom dates, and so on. But these white girls care about these issues to a whole new level as portrayed in teen movies. The white girls you see in teen movies take care of their social reputation, physical appearance, and their relationships as if that is their #1 goal and priority in life. What teen movies also do is make these girls believers and champions of the notion that if you're popular, you can do absolutely anything you want with the power you have. That's where the fakeness comes in. Instead of visual and auditory cues, when looking at the superficial white girl stereotype, we have to focus on their interactions with their peers and how these interactions emphasize the negative portrayals of the white girls in teen movies.
For this, there are often 2 layers of fake. The first is being overly obsessed with their outer appearance and how people look at your outside. The next level is definitely the deeper layer, and it has to do with having a phony personality in front of others to gain popularity. Many teen movies incorporate both levels. An example of the first level is the white chick scene where the 2 girls freak out over their tiny scars on their faces. This can be easily be characterized as superficial because they put their appearance over some extremely important priorities that they have to attend.
The second level of fakeness can be seen in the Mean Girls clip with the burn book. If you watch the rest of the film, you'll see that the Mean Girls are actually extremely nice on homecoming season because they know that if they act kindly towards others, they'll be able to get elected as homecoming queen. But behind all their peers' backs, when it is not homecoming season, they do nothing but gossip about some of the most superficial things. Something a little like this.
I love your skirt. Where did you get it? It was my mom's in the 80s.
Vintage. So adorable.
Thanks.
That is the ugliest effing skirt I've ever seen.
This is a stereotype that is dangerous because it's probably one of the funniest ones out here. And the things that they talk about are actually decently understandable. But we as viewers need to understand that we can't let all of these biases get in our way and change the way we perceive white girls in today's society as well.
Let's see who the dumb white girls are.
So if you're from Africa, why are you white?
Oh my god, Karen, you can't just ask people why they're white.
Dumb white girls are the girls that you see in teen movies that look just like this. But it's the truth that teen movies are not creating this portrayal of white girls simply because they genuinely feel that white girls should be depicted as uneducated and nonchalant beings. They're portrayed in this way precisely because they're funny. But let's look more deeply into the cues that let us know just how dumb these white girls are depicted as. It's not hard to see that nothing really is going on in her head. Not only that, in terms of substance, they seem to be void of any sensible logic. And it's supposed to be extremely funny and entertaining. And let's be honest, it really is. Who wouldn't laugh when we see something like this?
My name is Elle Wood. I'm going to tell all of you at Harvard why I'm going to make an amazing lawyer. It has come to my attention that the maintenance staff is switching our toilet paper from Charmin to generic. All those opposed to chafing, please say aye.
Aye. Or this.
2 minutes.
So, okay. Like right now, for example, the Haitians need to come to America. But it's like when I had this garden party for my father's birthday, right? I said RSVP because it was a sit-down dinner. But people came that did not RSVP. So I was totally bugging.
These visual and verbal cues, while effective, unfortunately solidify the stereotype of the dumb white girl. While these characters are fun to watch and interesting to have in movie cast, blonde white girls all over the world are continuously getting related to this stereotype, and this is actually affecting our perception of blonde white girls in real life and in today's society. And once again, we often think that this dumb white girl stereotype is a pretty recent idea, but just by looking at some clips from Clueless from 1995, we see that it is an idea that has been preserved and continued throughout the media, especially within teen movies. The first clip with Karen from Mean Girls is a classic example. We see that her face is literally confused. She clearly believes that everyone living in Africa is actually black, and this is precisely why we, as viewers, think she's legitimately stupid. The way she speaks also indicates her dumbness, her confused tone, and the way her voice continuously moves upwards. The next scene is the one from Legally Blonde, where the main character applies to Harvard Law School with a video clip and a video application talking about her so-called strengths. She's clearly not eligible for Harvard according to today's competitive and selective standards. Judging from the way she speaks and the ideas that she mentions in her video, I really don't think that most Ivy League law schools would take a look at her video and consider the toilet paper initiative evidence of her real intelligence in any way. In this clip, we once again see the same visual and auditory cues as before, the ones that remind us of the dumb white girl stereotype.
The last clip is once again from the 1995 movie Clueless, one that shows the main character giving a debate speech about why oppressed people should be allowed refuge. I don't know how she got there, but she began to talk about how her father's birthday party RSVP could be compared to the situation in Haiti.
Clearly, the content is completely false and invalid. Not just that, the way she speaks, how she uses the word like after every single word, makes this dumb white girl stereotype all the more visible in teen movies like this. When we look at girls like her in teen movies, we inevitably come to think that most white girls are just like her. This is something that we need to steer clear of. We cannot let these stereotypes affect our perceptions of white girls today, no matter how funny these images and no matter how funny these portrayals may be.
The bigger idea behind this stereotype is that all these are only applied to women. It basically has to do with sexism. We don't see dumb white guys who are rich and superficial with a high ego and spoiled lifestyle. We do, however, often encounter the woman counterparts in teen movies. This perpetuates the idea that women are powerless individuals and the idea that women are only able to gain power in society due to their social standings, the amount of boys they have dated, wealth, or appearance, instead of intellectual capabilities and personal qualities. Not only that, this stereotype also has to do with reverse racism, believe it or not. Although we mostly talk about the minorities in movies and media, such as the smart-fed or the token minority, the one black dude in action movies, or that one Asian kid in kids shows, the depiction of blonde white girls is a case of reverse racism. No other races in teen movies have people who are dumb, superficial, and rich. This hurts the image of white girls as much as how the news description of black men as criminals harms black men. Probably the most dangerous thing is that people watch teen movies without really realizing this aspect, because they are so used to it and because it is critiqued much less than the other stereotypes. It is basically less conspicuous.
Alright, we know that teen movies are not made to maliciously label white girls with a negative stereotype. The movie producers didn't scheme together to intentionally vilify the white girls. They did it to satisfy the audience. The viewers are supposed to find humor in these characters and the way that they show their dumbness, their wealth, and their fakeness. So let's think of some ways that we can actually change these biased perceptions. We can't just totally eradicate these stereotypes from teen movies. These stereotypes are factors of entertainment that both you and the directors don't want to let go of. But what we can do is incorporate elements that show some of the positive sides. If you're going to make the white girls the bad guy, and if you're going to make them the antagonists, why not do so while simultaneously showing certain skills or talents that actually make her somewhat more respectable, rather than giving her these simple labels, rich, dumb, and superficial. For example, the movie Confessions of a Shopaholic. It portrays the main character as an uncontrollable, rich, dumb white girl who's obsessed with her appearance. But we also see her positive sides because we see that she does have some talent in writing in the fashion industry as well. And because of these positive elements, we are not only seeing her negative sides. All in all, we love teen movies. They're nice, and they can definitely be sources of entertainment that both you and I can enjoy when you and I both need a laugh. But as viewers, we need to make sure that we don't let these movies put stereotypes in our brains and affect the way we see white girls in contemporary society. That's it for today. We hope you'll stay in tune for our next episode of Movie Mishaps.